It started with a watch. It was on the patio table at my wife's sister's birthday barbecue. Silver band, thick face, Roman numerals. I stared at it for a good 30 seconds, holding a tray of burgers in one hand and my dignity in the other, trying to figure out where I'd seen it before. "Vanessa," I said, low, leaning toward her by the cooler. "Whose watch is that?" She barely looked up from the wine bottle she was working on like it owed her money. "Oh, that? Probably Logan's." I blinked. "Logan?" She smirked. "You know, friend from work. Tall. Beard. Smells like sandalwood and ambition." The laugh that came out of me wasn't even a laugh. More like a slow exhale from a dying balloon. "Why is his watch on our table at your sister's birthday?" She rolled her eyes so hard it looked painful. "Just curious," I said. "If I find his boxers in the glove compartment, should I be polite and mail them back? Or just hang them on the antenna?" She finally turned. "You're such a child. And you're such a liar," I said. "But hey, we all have our hobbies." She stepped closer. "You think you're the victim in this?" "I think I'm the only one not screwing strangers in my sister-in-law's bathroom. Nothing happened here, Rick." "Right," I said, walking past her. "Just his watch. Just your stories. Just everyone laughing while I char the burgers like a good little cock." "Don't say that," she hissed. "What burgers?" She glared. "You always twist everything." "Not everything," I said, heading for the cooler. "Just the knife you keep in my back." And right on cue, she walked back to the fire pit like the conversation never happened, calling out, "You know Rick, right? The guy who burns toast and feelings." Everyone laughed. Not with me. At me. Her brother-in-law clapped me on the back. "She's brutal, huh?" I smiled. "Yeah, but at least she's consistent. Like taxes. Or mold." Vanessa was already mid-story by the time I set the burgers down. One of her greatest hits, apparently. Vanessa was halfway through roasting me by the time I got back from the grill. "And this man," she said, glass in hand, "decides he's going to fix the vacuum. No manual, no clue, just confidence and duct tape. I walk in, and he's got it taken apart like it's a car engine. I asked him what the plan was, and he said, 'Get this, just feel it out.'" Laughter rolled through the patio like smoke. Her sister doubled over. Her cousin slapped the table. I stood there, holding the tongs, meat juice still dripping from the edge. Vanessa turned to me, all teeth. "Tell them, babe." What happened next? I looked around at the crowd. These were people I'd helped move, whose roofs I'd patched, whose kids I'd built bunk beds for when money was tight. Now they were watching me like I was the sitcom husband on cue. I cleared my throat. I began, if I wanted something that made noise, lost suction, and overheated in 20 minutes, I'd have stuck with my marriage. Silence. Not shock. Just stillness. Like the joke had wandered into territory nobody wanted to acknowledge. Vanessa's smile didn't drop, but it froze. The kind of freeze where you can see the cracks just beneath the surface. Her mom shifted in her chair. Someone at the table coughed. Then Vanessa raised her glass and said, "Well, that explains why the vacuum still works." And just like that, the moment passed, but it stuck with her. And that was enough. I didn't say another word for the rest of the barbecue. Vanessa didn't come near me again, not even to say goodbye. She just laughed, posed for a few pictures with her sisters, and disappeared into her sister's house. I heard the front door close and her voice drift up from the hallway, casual and sweet. Too sweet. Fake sugar. I handed off the tongs to her brother-in-law and walked the long way around the fence, past the garden beds I helped build last spring. Tomatoes dying. Weeds coming in. Another thing nobody cared about anymore. Dean found me out front 15 minutes later. "You good?" Define good. He lit a cigarette and leaned against the mailbox. "Vanessa's walking around like she just wants something," he said. "She did," I replied. "A man who can afford a new watch." Dean looked down the driveway. "You know who that guy is?" "Logan." "Yeah, he's not just from work. He's her client. He owns the real estate firm she freelances for." I didn't answer. Dean exhaled smoke through his nose. "You want me to say it?" "No." "Cool. Then I won't." But we both knew what he wasn't saying. This wasn't a one-time thing. And Vanessa? She was too clean, too calm. Like she'd already decided where this all ends, and it didn't include me. We didn't speak on the ride home. She got in the passenger seat of my old '08 Chevy like it was a punishment. Her legs crossed, eyes out the window, nails tapping against her phone screen. I kept both hands on the wheel. The truck rattled down the road like always, steering loose, dashboard light blinking for no reason, but it was mine. More mine than she'd ever been. When we pulled into the driveway, she didn't wait. She got out, walked into the house without a word, and shut the door behind her. Not slammed. Just shut. Soft. dismissive. I sat in the truck a while longer. Let the engine hum under me. Then I pulled my old wallet from the glove box, the one my dad gave me when I turned 20. Soft leather, frayed edges, a faded photo of us fishing taped inside like some relic from a better life. That wallet had been with me longer than she had. I held it like a life raft. Eventually, I went inside. The house was dark, except for the glow of her laptop on the dining table. She was in bed already, pretending to sleep. I sat in the kitchen, drank a glass of water, and stared at the ceiling for an hour. Didn't say a word. Didn't move. Just let the silence show me what it had always known. At 3:42 a.m., I woke up from a dream I can't remember and did something I hadn't done in months. I got out of bed. Quiet. Careful. And I opened her vanity drawer. Locked, of course. But I knew where she kept the key. Hidden in the spine of a fake self-help book. Boundaries for Women. The irony nearly choked me. I opened the drawer. And there it was. A sealed envelope labeled with a man's name I didn't recognize. Cash inside. Neat. Organized. She wasn't cheating. She was running a system. This wasn't about Logan. This was a lifestyle. A double life. And I was the mask she wore in daylight. At 4:13 a.m., I sat in the garage, staring at the toolbox my father gave me. The red one, scratched and dented, with stickers from the 80s still flaking off the side. I remembered him telling me once, if something breaks, don't panic. Just learn how to take it apart. And so I did. I started with my life. Not all at once. Just a corner of it. I opened a new email account. I opened a private savings account under my middle name. I started researching apartments across state lines. I found out which documents I'd need to separate assets. I found a lawyer 2 towns over who specialized in quiet dissolutions. And I never said a word to Vanessa. Not when she called Logan Brandon, by mistake at breakfast 2 days later. Not when she told her friend over the phone, it's just about securing options. Not when I found her wedding ring in the bathroom drawer, under a bottle of imported face cream she claimed was just a sample. I just nodded, went to work, came home, smiled when I had to, laughed when it made her think I still didn't know. And I waited. You know that moment when something in your brain shifts, like a shelf giving out under too much weight, and you don't even react? That was me. Friday morning, 1 week after the barbecue. The house was still. I was drinking bitter coffee out of a chipped mug with a cartoon raccoon on it. One of Mason's old ones from when he was in 2nd grade. Vanessa came into the kitchen in heels and a silk blouse, like she was auditioning for a part she already had. I didn't say anything. She didn't notice me, or maybe she didn't care. She was typing something fast on her laptop, fingers moving like they were chasing a deadline. I'd seen that energy before, when she was excited, distracted, trying to outpace guilt. She closed the lid halfway, phone pressed to her ear. Then it rang again from the table. Another line. She froze for a second, snatched it up. Her voice dropped low, nervous. Then she mouthed the words, "I have to take this," and hurried out of the room, her heels clicking like a warning. Left her laptop open. That never happened. Not with her. That thing was usually locked up tighter than a bank vault with 2-step verification and some smug fingerprint scanner she insisted I never mess with. But now, it was sitting right there, still on the email app. But a second tab was open. Something dark red. I clicked it. OnlyFans. Her profile page. Not someone else's. Hers. Profile picture, black and white, cropped at the mouth. Display name, Roseanne Leather. Followers, 3,762. Top 0.7%. One preview post visible. Her in a black lace bodysuit I'd never seen in our house. Posed on a bed that wasn't ours. Hair tousled, makeup heavy. Camera just far enough to hide details, but close enough to leave nothing to imagination. I didn't blink. Didn't breathe. Just scrolled. Bio read. Elegant. Exclusive. For gentlemen who know how to behave. My DMs are open for business. I clicked on her About Me tab. Private custom content. DM requests. Payment tiers. There were names. Messages. Tips. Thousands of dollars in transactions. From men with usernames like Big Sky Investor and Silk Tie Daddy. Some of them asking when she'd be in town again. One said, "You look better when you're not pretending to be a wife." Another, "Book the suite for Friday. Same as last time." And beneath it, her reply, "Bring the bourbon this time." In the envelope. You know the rules. I didn't feel rage. I didn't even feel betrayed. I just felt removed. Like I was watching someone else's life crumble. Some guy in a movie. Some fool. I stared at the screen until I heard the front door open. I clicked away fast. Shut the lid like it was radioactive. She walked back in, smiling like she'd just gotten off a call with a travel agent. Set her phone down and picked up her keys. Going to Mom's, she said. I'll call you later. She kissed my cheek. Perfume. Cold. Unfamiliar. Then she was gone. No guilt. No hesitation. Just poise. Practice. That night I didn't sleep. I sat on the porch with my dad's old wallet in my hands, thumbing the edge of the photo inside. Me at 6, sitting in his lap with a fishing pole and a grin so wide it looked like I'd never been lied to. I wanted to talk to him. Ask him what a man's supposed to do when he realizes his wife's been living 2 lives and cashing in on both. He wouldn't have answered. But maybe that was the point. Some things, you just carry. 2 days later, I got confirmation. She thought she was alone on the phone. She wasn't. I'd stepped into the laundry room for a screwdriver, just as her voice floated through the cracked bathroom door. I'm telling you, Tasha, it's easy. Easiest money I've ever made. You smile, you pose, you flirt a little. Then they pay. A pause. A laugh. Some of them pay more for not even meeting. They want to think they could. That's what sells. Another pause. Then she said it. I've got 3 regulars. One of them sends me $2,000 a week just to keep him at the top of the message queue. He thinks I'm saving up for a divorce lawyer. She laughed again. That cold, sharp laugh she uses when she thinks she's being clever. My hands tightened on the screwdriver until my knuckles went white. I just have to keep Rick in the background a little longer, she said. He's harmless. Just slow. Thinks hard work earns love. It's kind of cute, honestly. That was the first time I truly hated her. Not because she was cheating, but because she thought I was a joke. Revenge isn't fire. It's cold. Real revenge, the kind that doesn't land you in jail or therapy, isn't about screaming or swinging. It's about patience, precision, making sure every piece fits before you pull the trigger. And it starts the second you stop trying to be the good guy. That moment came for me 2 days after I overheard her on the phone talking about rich clients and how Rick's just background noise. I sat in the garage that night, light off, door cracked open. Same folding chair. Only this time, I wasn't wondering what I did wrong. I was wondering what she'd do if she had to beg. I didn't want to hurt her. I wanted to unmake her. So I started with her pride. First thing I did was buy a burner phone. Same model she used. Same black, no case sleekness. I set up a new identity, gray suit exec. I found her OnlyFans page again. Set up an account. Dropped $250 on custom content without hesitation. Her DMs lit up less than 10 minutes later. Well, hello, stranger. You're not shy. I replied. Only when the woman's not worth it. You? I'd call this an investment. She bit. Hard. She had no idea it was me. Of course she didn't. She thought I was on her hook like the rest of them. Some corporate guy with a wallet full of guilt and a taste for curated seduction. We messaged every night for a week. She flirted. I responded in phrases I never used with her in real life, sharp, smooth, confident. I made her laugh. Told her she looked like a storm in heels. She said, if we met in real life, you'd never let me leave your bed. I wrote back. If we met in real life, I'd have cameras set up to remember every angle. I could practically feel her melt through the screen. And the best part? She sent me the exact same photos she'd sent Logan. Same poses. Same smile. Same dress I bought her 2 anniversaries ago. Said she didn't like how it fit. Now it was bait. Once I had her full attention, I gave her what she craved. Distance. I told her I was flying to Chicago. Business trip, I said. Big client. Big pressure. Might be off the grid for a few days. She told gray suit exec she'd miss him. She told me, her husband, that I should use the opportunity to reconnect with myself. Whatever the hell that meant. Then she hugged me with one arm and walked out of the room before I finished packing. I didn't leave town. I drove 30 minutes to my cousin's empty rental property. Slept on a deflated air mattress, ate dry cereal, and spent the next 2 days rigging the house. 3 motion-activated mini cameras. One in the bedroom, tucked inside a hollowed-out air vent cover. One in the kitchen light fixture. One under the living room bookshelf, angled just enough to catch the front door in the hallway. I didn't want content. I wanted proof. Proof she wasn't just unfaithful. Proof she thrived on it. Day 1, nothing. She walked around in a robe, had wine at 2 p.m., danced in the kitchen alone, and spent 40 minutes filming a motivational rant about self-worth on her burner phone. Day 2, Logan showed up. She let him in wearing heels and no shame. Hugged him like a man who'd earned her. No kiss. Not at first. They talked business. I had no audio, but I saw her showing him a document on her laptop, zoomed in, pointed with one finger. He nodded. She laughed. Then came the wine. Then came the couch. That was when the kiss came. And he stayed the night. Didn't leave until 10 a.m. the next morning. I watched everything from my cousin's living room like I was binging a show I didn't audition for. Every time I paused the video, I found myself studying her face. She was good. Her eyes told two different stories depending on who she was talking to. The woman I married? She hadn't existed in years. I waited until the fourth day to send the next message from my fake client account. Back in town. Thinking about you. She replied in seconds. You better be. I missed our chats. Want to meet? She sent a winky face and a voice memo of her laugh. Said she was too naughty for coffee. I told her I'd be in town next week. That I wanted to meet. She said she'd think about it. That's how you know someone's lying. When they act coy about something they're already desperate to say yes to. Back at home, she was glowing. Lit up like a Christmas display. I walked in the front door Thursday evening, and she actually greeted me with a smile. You look rested, she said. You look like a woman who got everything she wanted. She laughed and kissed my cheek. See? You can be charming when you try. I smiled back and thought, I wonder if you'll still say that when I show this to all. That weekend, she baked muffins. That's how I knew something was off. Vanessa never baked. Claimed flour, hated her. Said using an oven was for women who peaked in high school. But there she was, flour on her sleeve, humming to herself in the kitchen like she was auditioning for a wholesome version of herself. I thought you didn't do baking, I said, leaning on the doorframe. She didn't look up. Just felt like trying something new. I watched her crack an egg with one hand like she'd done it 100 times before. She was glowing again. Not just confident. Radiant. Like a woman whose life was going exactly as she'd planned. It was the same kind of energy she had when we first met, before the criticisms, the eye rolls, the digs about my lunchbox and my paycheck and my quiet. That woman? She's who I fell for. This one? She had clients. Sunday evening, I caught her in the bathroom mirror. I was brushing my teeth. She was behind me, touching up her makeup like we were going somewhere. We weren't. You going out? I asked, toothbrush still in my mouth. She smiled at her reflection. Not me. Just a little late meeting. Tasha's got me working on a project. I spit. Project, huh? Yeah, she said, sliding lip gloss on with one precise swipe. We're pitching a series of women's seminars. Might turn it into a podcast if it sticks. You're really branching out, I said. She turned to me. Well, somebody has to evolve. She left in a red blazer and heels, dressed like a keynote speaker. I watched her pull away in her car, tail lights bleeding down the street. 15 minutes later, Logan walked past the front of the house with a hoodie pulled up, got in his truck, and followed her. I didn't record it. I didn't have to. I already had the real show saved. That week, I made her breakfast. Eggs, toast, black coffee. Set it all on the table like I was trying. She looked at it like it was foreign. This is thoughtful. I sat down across from her. Smiled. Just wanted to do something for you. She took a bite. Didn't say thanks. Didn't say much of anything. Just ate like someone who knew the game was already won. And maybe that's what made it so easy to keep playing my part. Every time she smiled at her phone, I wondered if it was me, her husband, or me, the man behind the anonymous messages that made her blush. Every time she said, I need to focus on this content shoot, I nodded and handed her the ring light. Every time she walked past me in something tight, thinking she'd outgrown my gaze, I stared just long enough for her to feel beautiful and just short enough for her to feel invisible. I was already gone. She just didn't know it yet. On Friday, I got a message from Vanessa's real estate friend. Someone I barely knew. Said Logan had introduced her to a private client, a guy looking to buy a secluded property 2 states away. Cash buyer. No mortgage. Used the name Grayson Hart. The name I used for the fake account. I stared at the screen for a long minute. That meant she'd mentioned me. The version of me. The man she thought was her golden ticket. The man she wanted to impress, protect, and, if it came to it, choose. She was planning a life outside of this one. Outside of me. And she thought I'd never know. Saturday morning, she went shopping. Said she was picking up supplies for her shoot. Took the nicer car. Left wearing something halfway between casual and curated. While she was out, I added a new camera. Under her vanity desk. Same place she hid the burner phone. Same drawer she locked like it held state secrets. It took me 5 minutes. I wiped everything down after. Wore gloves. Put the key back in the fake book she thought I hadn't noticed. When she came home, I was on the couch watching a fishing documentary. She kissed my forehead like I was one of the throw pillows. The irony is she was never more loving than when she thought she was winning. After the hotel no-show, Vanessa came home with a soft smile and muffin mix under her nails. She hummed while she folded laundry. Kissed my temple in the mornings. Asked about my sleep like we'd spent the last month falling in love instead of spiraling into the dirt. And I played along. Because the game wasn't over. If anything, it had just begun. I never planned to meet her. Not as Grayson. That part of the plan was always off the table. Too risky. She might recognize something, a gesture, a phrase, the way I sat. She was shallow, yes, but not stupid. So instead, I pivoted and let her chase the fantasy. Our messages deepened. What started as winks and tips became paragraphs and late-night thoughts. She sent longer videos, voice notes, photos taken in secret places, her car, the stairwell of Logan's office building, the dressing room of a boutique I never knew she could afford. I responded with money. Not real money, preloaded burner account credits made to look like wire transfers. Grayson began leaving generous gifts. Hints of a bigger price. That necklace looked better on you than it did in the case. Chicago in 2 weeks. I want you to be there. Keep showing me that power. It suits you. She ate it up like sugar. I could see it change her. Her tone changed. Her posture shifted when she walked past me at home. She was gliding again, like a woman carrying secrets she thought were weapons. Then came the video call requests. She asked the first time half-jokingly. Would love to see that jawline in motion. I paused, then responded. Let's build anticipation a little longer. I like watching you fall. She called me cruel. I told her it made her better. 3 days later, I sent a pre-recorded clip. Not of me. A cropped, AI-manipulated video of a man in a luxury condo, blazer on, face never fully in frame. Just enough audio to sell it. She played it 6 times. Said she replayed it with headphones in bed. Said she deleted Logan's number. She was lying. Of course. I had camera footage of Logan showing up just 2 nights prior. Same truck. Same shoulder tap as he walked in. She greeted him in a t-shirt and bare feet. But to me? To Grayson? She said, there's only one man I want to undress for now. I almost laughed. At home, she was radiant. The kind of sweet that came with guilt or strategy, maybe both. She rubbed my shoulders when I got back from the yard. Bought new curtains for the bedroom and acted like it was my idea. Watched old movies with me and quoted lines she'd never remembered before. Her voice changed, 2 soft edges, honey on every sentence. It was the same tone she used with new clients or first dates. The difference was, now I could tell. Because now, I knew what she sounded like when she meant it, and what she sounded like when she didn't. She didn't talk back anymore. Didn't fight about groceries. Didn't complain when I left my boots by the door. She even started packing my lunch again. Not with love, not with little notes like she used to, but with calculation. As if the act itself might rewrite the truth. She told her friends I was trying again. That we were reconnecting. She told her sister I was more attentive lately. She told her mom she was blessed to have a man who still fights for her. Meanwhile, I had a folder on my hard drive titled Exit. Inside were her private message logs with 6 different subscribers. Audio from her phone calls with Logan. Footage of her checking herself in the mirror before opening the door for someone who wasn't me. Her calendar marked Grayson, possible Chicago. Her bank statements. 1 edited video compilation with timestamps, faces, and captions. And a document labeled Family Gathering, confirmed RSVPs. That was the endgame. A dinner. A toast. A celebration for her, she'd think. She'd show up dressed to impress, prepared to lie one more time. And waiting for her, a room full of people who once believed she was a daughter, a wife, a businesswoman, a friend. People who'd now get to see what I saw. The invitations were casual. Family first, her parents, her sister, her brother-in-law. Then coworkers. Her mentor Tasha, 2 colleagues from Logan's real estate circle, and Logan himself. I sent the invites through her own email. Scheduled. Polite. Rick and Vanessa would love to host an evening of gratitude and reconnection. Vanessa didn't even notice. She was too busy texting Grayson pictures of a new red dress and asking if he preferred silk or satin. I said, satin, but take it off slow. She replied, anything for you. She thought she was weeks away from a real escape. A rebrand. A man who wouldn't demand groceries or clean socks or conversation after work. A man who only existed in her imagination. And she couldn't tell she was talking to the same one she married. 2 nights before the dinner, she lit candles at home. Made dinner. Set the table with linen napkins and real silverware we hadn't touched since our wedding registry. You've been amazing lately, she said, brushing my hand across the table. Thanks, I said. She sipped her wine, eyes soft, lips parted like she was about to confess something. Instead, she said. I want us to try again. I leaned in, held her hand, smiled, and said, me too, because lies taste sweeter when they're served second. That night, I sat in the garage with my dad's toolbox open, his old flashlight clutched in my hand. The one with the duct-taped grip. The one he gave me the day we installed our first porch light together. Almost there, old man, I whispered. Just a few more screws left. The day before the dinner, she asked if I wanted her to help with setup. I told her no. You've earned a break, I said. It's your night. She beamed. You're really surprising me lately. Trying to be the man you need, I replied. She touched my chest and said, you already are. That was the last lie she ever told me face to face. The night before the dinner, she lit a vanilla candle and wore her silk robe. Not for me. Not for anyone in the house. It was for Grayson. She poured herself a glass of white wine, propped up the ring light, adjusted her phone, and checked the mirror twice. I watched all of it from the garage. She sat cross-legged on the bed, knees peeking out through the slit in her robe, hair down, lips glossed in that pale shimmer she only used when she was selling an image. She sent the first message at 8:46 p.m. Ready for that call? Been thinking about it all day. I waited 5 minutes, then replied, calling in 5. Video might be glitchy, signal's bad at this hotel. But I need to hear you. She responded with a winking gif and a peach emoji. At 8:54, the call started. I had the fake video loop preloaded, grainy, dark, believable. A man in silhouette, just shoulders and a blurred jaw. No voice, just ambient noise. I ran it through an old laptop on Wi-Fi tethered to a mobile hotspot to intentionally slow the connection. On her end, I saw her giggle and wave at the screen. Poor signal, she cooed. But you're still the hottest blur I've ever seen. Then she leaned in. You want me to talk, baby? Want me to say all those things you like? And she did. She said them all. Every last one. She unwrapped the robe halfway through the call, tilted her phone, played the game like it was scripted, told Grayson all about how she'd booked a hotel 2 towns over just for us, how she'd picked out a red lace set he could rip off if he brought enough cash. I'm worth it, she whispered, biting her lower lip. A woman like me doesn't come cheap. But you knew that. I recorded the entire thing. Video, audio, her voice crystal clear, echoing with the low hum of the nightstand fan. At 9:37, she ended the call, blew a kiss to the screen, then sent one last message. Tomorrow, I'll be smiling all night, but I'll only be thinking of you. She set her phone down, rolled onto her back, and exhaled like a job well done. By 10:30, she was asleep. By 11, I had the video edited, time-stamped, and converted into a presentation file. The next day was warm, unusually so for late spring. A high of 76, clear skies, and a light breeze that made the backyard wind chimes sing every few minutes. I took that as a sign. We spent the day prepping. She helped string lights through the oak limbs, set the folding chairs around the table, sprayed the patio with lemon oil so it didn't smell like last week's dog accident. She wore jeans and a blouse, but kept checking her phone like a teen waiting for a text. I knew what she was hoping for. Another message from Grayson. But he was gone. Grayson's account had already been deleted. Email wiped. Profile removed. Her golden goose? Gone before dinner. But she still smiled. Still played the part. Still gave me that little wink when her sister pulled up with store-bought sangria and said, wow, Rick really outdid himself this time. By 6, the guest had arrived. Family, co-workers, Logan. He showed up with a bottle of red wine and a smug smile that said, I've slept with the hostess. Nobody noticed. But I did. I watched her greet him with a cheek kiss, too soft, too long, and his hand brush her back in a way that meant they'd been here before. Tasha came too. And Vanessa's mentor from her old marketing job. Even Mason's teacher, the one who used to drop off art projects when we were remote learning. The table was full. 14 people. 14 people who still thought this was a party. And in a way, it was. I stood and made a toast, holding the same glass she gave me on our wedding day, the one with a small chip in the rim. I cleared my throat. Thanks for coming, I said. I know this was a little last minute, but I wanted to do something special. For Vanessa. She looked at me and beamed. She didn't know. Not yet. I smiled back. For the woman who lights up every room, I continued. For her drive, her ambition, her ability to wear many hats, wife, daughter, businesswoman, visionary. I paused. Tasha smiled. Her sister nodded. Logan sipped wine. Vanessa tucked her hair behind her ear like a teen on prom night. And tonight, I said slowly. We're going to celebrate something even more rare than our success. She tilted her head. Honesty. I turned toward the projection screen I'd set up near the back fence, draped in a white sheet, discreet, like part of the decor. She frowned. I grabbed the remote. Let's take a look at what makes Vanessa so very remarkable. I pressed play. The video began. The one from last night. She was sitting in bed, hair down, robe slightly open. I wore this for you, she said to the screen. People chuckled awkwardly at first, thinking it was a prank. Then came her voice. Are you going to make me say it again? She leaned in. You know what I want, baby. Say you'll meet me. Say you'll bring the cash. I'll make it worth every second. Her face filled the frame. Logan sat up straighter in his chair. Tasha's eyes widened. Her sister covered her mouth. Vanessa didn't move. She just stared. Frozen. A deer with headlights in every direction. Then came her final whisper from the video. I'm yours tomorrow. Just don't make me wait. The screen cut to black. The wind stopped. Someone coughed. Then silence. Hard. Stiff. Unforgiving. Vanessa stood. Rick. I don't know what. Don't, I said. Please. I turned to the guests. You deserve the truth. All of you. Every person here has been lied to in some way. Used. I motioned to Logan. Some more intimately than others. Logan stood quickly. This is messed up, Manna. I cut him off. She used me. She used him. She used Grayson, who doesn't exist. She's been selling a fantasy while poisoning the reality the rest of us live in. Her mother stood next. Rick, honey, this is not. But she couldn't finish. Because Vanessa had started crying. Not sobbing. Just a steady leak. Like she was holding in a dam's worth of guilt and only now noticed the cracks. She whispered, please. Not here. Not like this. I turned back to her. You chose the stage, Vanessa. I just set up the screen. And with that, I picked up my dad's old toolbox from beside the porch and walked into the house.